Well, hi, I'm Greg. That's me down here in the corner. I know you want to see my handsome face. Anyway, I'm going to do some turning today. At least start some. And I got something new. I bought a new face mask, shield and mask. And I kind of wanted to tell you just a little bit about it. You know, it's just the basic thing. But what I want to tell you was the price. I had gone on Amazon and was trying to decide which one I wanted. And no more turning than I do. I knew I didn't want the $150 to $300 ones. And I saw this one called the Parcel PD100 Respirator. And it was $79.95. And they had another one that looked just like it for $59.95. Well, 2 or 3 days of research, and I couldn't make up my mind whether to get the $60 one or the $80 one. So I went back to look at them again, and guess what? The $60 one was still 60 bucks, but the $70 one, this one here, was $54.95. So it paid to stall and procrastinate and all that kind of good stuff. So anyway, I'm going to turn, let me get a light on over here. I'm going to turn this piece of apple, and this is the second cut above the stump. Now I've already turned, and I'll show you that picture, the root ball, and I turned the stump. I'll show you that picture now too. And this is the second cut above the stump. And it's apple. I'm not sure what kind of apple. The owner just said it was apple. That's all I know. I do know one thing, it is really hard. And I looked up the Janka rating on apple, and it was 1760, I believe, which is right there with Hickory. So this stuff is really hard. And I don't know how wet it still is. The tree fell over last fall, and I dug up the root ball and cut the tree up this spring, and so it's been setting in my crawl space now for, I don't know, 2, maybe 3 months. It feels dry right now, but when I get to putting the gouge to it, it'll probably feel a lot wetter. And what I'm going to make, here's the pattern, is I'm going to turn spindle turns. I'm not going to do bowls. And this is the pattern. I want to make a vase out of it. And square up the ends, take the bark off, and just kind of get a basic shape. And then I'm going to let it set for about 4 weeks to dry. Going to be gone, and I'm going to let it set. So I'm going to get my tools out, and I'm going to get to turning here, and I'll be right back to show you what I'm going to be doing. Well, the first thing I did, I took my little hatchet and I knocked all the loose bark off of it, and I went through and I used this to knock all the little nubbins off of it. And I know most guys just take that off with their gouge, but I don't know. I'd rather do it this. It's a lot easier. And you just take and go like that, and you just knock that stuff off. So that was the first thing I did. Now what I'm going to do, I don't think there's anything in it. And I'm going to test it, see if there's any nails or anything in it. I don't think there is. But boy, if there is, you hit one and you wish you hadn't. Alright. Alright, looks clean. So I'm going to get my mask and face shield on and get the train cranking here. Get my $5 raincoat on. Make sure this is good and tight. And I'll be using a 1-inch spindle gouge. So let me get my mask and face shield on. You can really, pull this up, you can really tell when I hit a knot. So they're really hard. Alright, well that's what I'm going to be doing. So no, you should continue to watch this. I know it's boring. But next thing I'm going to do though is square that off and then continue to cut. Man, this stuff is tough. Alright, well I'm going to shut off the camera and keep working. Well, this is the basic shape. Let me get my thing here where you can kind of see. You let me get my glasses on so I can see. And back that off a little bit. Alright, that's the basic shape. I really wanted to get rid of that, but I guess I won't, because I don't want it much smaller than this. I got a little work to do down here, taper this on down, but I'm not going to do that today. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some glue in these cracks and on this. Then I'm going to clean up this mess, as you can see, and then I'm going to quit. It's enough for one day, and it's going to set now for 3 weeks, and so I'm going to leave now and I'll be back in 3 weeks. Bye. Oh, wait a minute. See, how did I do that? Bye. Well, I know what you're thinking, or what you're wondering anyway. How well did the mask work? Well, it worked real well. I could breathe pretty well. I could see real good. It was very clear. The only thing is, it's hot. Man, is it hot. You know, I'm just sweating up a storm in that thing. But it did not fog up. So I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it about an 8. I couldn't smell a thing, so I know it was keeping the particulate out of my lungs. I could see just fine, but man, it's just hot, 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 hot. So that's the mask, and how well it worked. Would I recommend it? Yeah, I think so. Well, the price was right. It's a good mask for that, and it's got a charcoal filter in here, so when I'm spraying lacquer, it's good for that too. So yeah, I guess I'd recommend it, especially at this price at 55 bucks, $54.95. All right, guys. Well, now I'm really off. I'm going. Going to be back in 3 weeks. Bye. Well, good morning. I said it would be a couple of 3 weeks that I let this dry. Well, it's been, I don't know, 6 or 7 weeks that I've let it dry. We went to Colorado. We were gone for 21 days. So that was 3 weeks. And then we've been back a couple of weeks. And I think this was a week before we went. So you figure it all out, it's been roughly 6 weeks. Pretty close anyway, to 6 weeks. Now off camera, I've got it shaped down like I want it, I think. Well, I got 2 coats of clear gloss lacquer on it. Sprayed on one coat, let it set for two minutes, then sprayed on another coat. I'm going to let this dry overnight, and then I want to come back in and sand it with about a 400 or 600 grit paper, and I'll sand this way. I won't sand around that way. I'll sand this way. And then I'll put on a couple more coats. And that way I get a real glassy finish. So that's what I'm doing. So I'll see you in the morning. Well, I put it back on the lathe, and I reworked it. I didn't like it the way it looked at all. It's got a better shape. I put some banding up here. I think you can see that right there, just to add a little detail to it. And I did not stain it again. The stain is, I like the color. It looks good, and I like the fact that down here at this end it's a little darker, because I didn't sand the stain off down here. I think it gave it a good look. So it's got, I've reworked it now the 4th time, and I've put 2 coats of gloss lacquer on it, clear lacquer. Now I'm going to sand it with a 400 grit paper. I'll be sanding in this direction with the grain, what grain there is. And then I'm going to be putting another 2 or 3 coats of clear lacquer on it before I take it off, turn it around, and drill a hole through it so that we have a vase. So a vase is what it's going to be. So that's what I'm doing. Nothing fancy. You know, this is not rocket science. And so I'm going to get to sanding and get to spraying, and I'll get back to you when it's done. What I did now, I took this Mohawk 4F pumice and I mixed it with feed and wax on this little thing, and then I took it over here and put it on my vase. I use this rag, and I turned it for, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes. Then I wiped it off. Then I put feed and wax on it and polished it for another 2 or 3 minutes. And this is the results. The finish is about as smooth as you can get it. It's just like silk. It's I wouldn't call it a high gloss shine, although the lacquer I put on there was high gloss, but it takes a little bit of the edge off. You can see I didn't do this down here. You can kind of maybe see a little difference there. It's a little shinier down here, and I wanted it that way than it is up here. This is more of a yeah, it's not flat by no means, and it's just not quite as shiny as the high gloss, that's all. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my chuck on here. I'm going to turn it around, put the tenon in the chuck, and see if I can drill big hole down through the middle to make a vise out of it. When I get that set up, I'll show you what it looks like. Hey, this is what it looks like. Drill chuck, extension. I have a bit here. I've already drilled a 1/2 inch hole about this deep, and I'll keep working it up until I get my largest bit. Now my largest bit, I already drilled a little indentation here so that I can center it and put it down the hole. So that's what we're doing. Nothing to it. All I do is crank the handle back here. This handle right here. I turn it and crank it, and it forces this to go this way. So that's what it is. I'll turn it on here and let you get a look what's going on. Hopefully nothing happens. Back it off. Push it forward, lock it up, crank again. Well, I bottomed out to where my other drill, my 1/2 inch drill went, so I'm drilling the whole thing. And so you don't want to, you got to keep backing up, letting the sawdust get out, otherwise the bit will get too hot. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just going to keep doing it and get back with you when it's all done. Wow, can you believe it takes all this stuff to make that thing? And since I redid it 4 times, I had to leave all this stuff out until I got it all done. Just unbelievable how much stuff it takes. I used every piece laying here. Now I got the horrendous job of getting it all cleaned up. Well, there, that's not so bad. Man, that was easy. Let's see if I can make it dirty again. Oh, I don't want to do that. Take it back. Whoops. It's gone. Oh, it's finished. Well, here's what it looks like. Well, here it is in all its glory. One applewood vase. I love the color. And I kind of like the barky knot here in front. I guess that's the front. You can see what I did here. Little detail. I thought that looked kind of nice. And maybe I'll turn it around and you can see the other side. The boss thinks this is the prettiest part right here. You know, it's not real grainy, but it's pretty nice. And there's a big crack right here. I filled that with cyanoacrylic, otherwise super glue. I don't think it'll be a problem. And I left the wormholes. I cleaned all those out. Remember I filled them? I cleaned them all out. All that I could anyway. And I think I like the more natural look. But anyway, there it is in all its beauty, for, as Phil would say, for all to enjoy. Thanks for watching.